Free advice, would you like some free advice? Free advice forever.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
What are we on? Episode, what is this, 60?
13?
13? I think it's 14, Morgan.
Oh, is it 14? Was the last one 13? You would probably know better than me.
I'm just guessing here that I think so.
So we're somewhere in the teens.
Yeah.
We're like in the middle of hitting puberty.
No longer a tween anymore, that's for sure.
We are in it.
Got a lot of feelings that are difficult for us to process.
Yeah, we got pubic hair that's starting to happen.
Well, I just want you to be patient with us.
Listen to us. Don't try to say that, we're not allowed to be angry or we're not entitled to feel sad. We got feelings.
But don't make us talk right now if we don't feel like it.
Yes, because, maybe I don't want to talk about what kind of day I had at the dinner table. Because, my brother's going to say, fuck you anyway.
Yeah.
So it's this is just not the situation.
No.
Maybe, later in a little heart-to-heart upstairs in my bedroom, once the brother's out of the way.
Yeah. Let us go skateboarding.
Yeah, we want to skateboard. All our friends are doing it.
And we might fall and we might hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
But that'd be valuable.
Yeah, just, give us the option of wearing knee pads. But, you can't make us wear them because they're dorky, and we're just going to take them off anyway once we leave.
Yeah. Side note away from this, I love wearing knee pads while I'm snowboarding. I put them under my snowboard pants and a butt pad, and it makes snowboarding so much more fun. People who are like, oh, I could never learn that now. I just fall and get hurt. I'm like, well, wear knee pads and a butt pad. It costs about $25, and all of a sudden, you're having fun falling. It's like your body is a built-in sled now because your butt has an additional cushion. I don't know. Maybe some people have big enough butts that they wouldn't get hurt, but I find having the padding without nerve endings in it is nice.
Well, kids also are just so, pliable or something. And they just fall without any, is it with abandon or without abandon?
With reckless abandon.
With reckless abandon. They're just flopping all over the place because they're not as worried about protecting this or that, and they know intuitively that their bodies are made to fall and get bumped around and pick back up.
They're
and heal
floppy
and all
on
that
purpose.
Stuff. They're floppy on purpose.
One, they're low to the ground.
Yes.
That's a strategy that falling is not that big of a deal. It's like us just leaning slightly into a wall.
Right.
Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Two, their adult bones are still coming in. So they've got just their child bones, which are going to be replaced at 6 anyway.
Child bones.
Yeah.
I think it's also
the bone
that
fairy.
They don't have...
It's the whole reason that you hide your child bones behind the toilet when you've pooped them out. And then the bone fairy comes along and leaves you little pieces of chocolate back there.
Just make sure it's chocolate before you eat it.
Of course. One of the oldest pranks in the book is when you realize that your little brother has lost his child bones and you put some poop back there and then he comes out screaming and you're like, oh yeah, thought it was chocolate. The old bone fairy prank.
The other thing about it too is I think that adults have so many stored memories of falling and being in pain. I think the fear is much more there, because they know all these times when they fell and it was so painful. And so you build that up. I never want to experience that again. So I'm not even going to take this leap.
Right.
I think it happens in all arenas of adult life and not just falling on the ground and getting a boo-boo and wanting to be more protective. However, there is the reality of adult bones get to a point where they're more fragile than kid bones and you really can hurt yourself. But my personal opinion is you have to keep trying to stretch yourself to live your life on the edge. And yes, there will be pain from that, but from pain cometh growth.
Yeah. Yeah. Fear is I
wouldn't do that if I were you.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks. It's like Chucky from the Rugrats. Just this personification of anxiety that's just there all the time. Ooh, I don't even know why yet, but I don't think we should do this.
Do you think that Chucky's related to the Chucky from Child's Play, the movie that just came out?
They
June
sure
21st?
look similar.
Yeah.
Because the Chucky doll, it does look very, the zany hair. Is it red? It's also red.
Yeah, it's red.
Yeah.
He's got the one eye thing. He's got eye problems in the same way Chucky does. Huh. Yeah, some toy movies just came out. Toy Story 4 and
I just
Chucky,
saw Toy Story 4.
Child's Play. Oh, yeah. Good, I assume. I heard good things.
I liked it.
Good.
I didn't put it in a category of everyone must see this.
Okay.
However...
What was the last movie that was for you?
Ooh. Everyone must see this.
Yeah, do you even have that category? Or are you just making claims that have no...
Boyhood, maybe.
Okay.
I liked Boyhood a lot. There are others. That's just the first one that popped into my head. Because it's such a... it's such an expansion of the medium of film by, elapsing over the course of a lot of real time. And also it's a, American story of a kid, a coming of age. It's such a beautiful and classic and modern
A-plus
coming of age
movie
story.
in my mind.
Totally.
Doing something I've never seen before and very well.
And I am just such a diehard Linklater fan. And I'm not normally a fan of like a director. Like I feel like being a fan of a director is like such a pretentious thing in general.
Why?
I don't know.
The person has a certain sensibility. They have tastes that align with yours generally. I think
Totally. I think I'm just a little jaded from having been in the like independent film industry of everyone's like, "Huh?" Any art form you can be up your own ass about.
I get that. People can be annoying about that. Yeah. Especially if it's like other people talking about, oh, I love George Clooney. And then somebody's like, oh, I watched it for the director. Because, the implication is like, you don't even know who works behind the scenes because all you see is the surface level stuff.
Yes. And I'm here commenting on the cinematography. Fuck you.
Right.
And the sound mixing.
Right. The lighting.
Fuck you. Yeah. But I do that all the time, and internally I'm like, fuck me. But wow, the way that was mixed was just brilliant.
Really?
Sometimes.
That's not your... You really pay attention to sound mixing, not design, but like the relative volumes.
Here's the thing. I really barely know the difference.
Okay.
But the people around me barely even less maybe know the difference, unless I'm, unless there's a couple specific people in my life that are very sound oriented, that are very oral. I believe we had this conversation before.
What an annoying word.
Oh,
sounds so much like oral.
It's just misleading on purpose.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Fuck that shit.
All right,
anyway.
We got lost somewhere in there. I remember knee pads.
Child
talking
bones.
about.
Oh yeah, you said snowboarding, but why did we start talking about that?
Because we were talking about being teenagers. We're in our 14th-ish episode. Yeah. Really hope I didn't get that wrong for this, but.
Well, we'll see. Who cares? No one's gonna fucking email us like angry.
Yeah. Good.
But if you want to email us angry, please do. We welcome all of your emotional output. Yeah, please ask us for some freaking advice and don't just be pissed,
Right.
Don't act like you're all high and mighty. You're coming here for something. And we love that you are.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's Rob Zaleski.
That's Morgan Beard.
Fuck yeah.
Good introduction.
Yeah. Saved it for 7.5 minutes in.
I hope our voices are distinct enough that people can tell.
Oh my God. Can you even imagine? Should I be a little more like feminine or like a little more like high pitched, just a little breathier?
You think that's what I sound like?
That's right. That would really help me close the gap.
That's your impression
between our voices. Okay, what would help you differentiate your voice from mine? What direction would you go in?
Oh, I don't know if I was doing like a cartoon voice. I think this would be pretty obvious.
Wow, that was amazing to watch you just seamlessly slip into that
thanks.
Very different character. Amazing. Do you do voice acting?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I have a demo reel that I made.
Fuck yes. We're gonna put that on our non-existent Patreon page for you guys to buy.
Patreon is coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I mean, way down the road. Way down the road.
Choo choo.
It's more like. It's like really far away.
Okay.
It's like, oh, that train will be here by Tuesday.
Here's some free unsolicited advice.
Perfect.
Something I figured out last night.
Fuck yeah.
When you're falling asleep at night, I sleep with the window open, so this is a little advantage. But I like to try and focus on what sounds like the most distant sound. Like, what's the quietest source of sound that you can find, and like go there in your head. I find it very peaceful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it gets you to like tune into like what's not the most obvious thing, but what's the thing that's running most in the background, farthest away from me now.
I think that's really, I love that. I think it's cool for what it is, but I also think it's reflective of your thought process in general. Because like, I think you like to observe all of the things of life. And I think you like to go, okay, I'm not going to lose myself in the thing that's the most obvious. I'm going to peek behind the curtain and pull for the most kind of abstract, obscure thing and see what's there. And I fucking love that about you.
I like being in on the joke. I do not like being the one person who doesn't know what's going on.
Who likes that?
I don't know. It bothers me more than most people. I'll just say that. I used to look up like riddle answers as a kid so that if there's ever a riddle, I'd know.
Wow. What were you hiding there? What were you working on? What were you working through with that?
I guess I got a lot of my self-worth from knowing the answers to things, raising my hand first and getting called on, as a lot of us high-achieving kids do. It's like that's what you're praised for, and that's what you start to think like, oh, this
a lot
is
of
what's
us
good
hacks.
Yeah.
High-achieving kids. I love that.
Oh, heck, yeah. That
funny.
Makes it sound like you're a phony, like a hack comedian.
Right. That's the point. That's what I was saying.
But I mean, you got the real knowledge though. So can you really call you a hack in that sense?
But if your ego is totally depending on high achievement, then yes.
Okay. What should your ego depend on?
Nothing. You shouldn't have one. Next.
I disagree.
As much as possible. No, I mean, I think it's having an ego is important to build up like an investment in yourself and like an attachment to something. But then I think once you get beyond that level, it's like, okay, now how do I know that I'm this fully formed person and also detach? But you have to move through that phase of identification, which happens around adolescence. Yeah.
Which is where we are on this podcast.
We're finding our identity.
We're starting to look around at other podcasts, noticing the ones that are cute.
Yeah.
Smelling the air extra hard whenever they walk by.
Yeah. It's checking our breath is what I was trying to do. Checking our breath, making sure our shirt's tucked in.
I was trying to smell their hair when they walk by, and there's that little like scent trail.
So
then leaning forward and just taking a big whiff.
So senior year of high school for me. I went to a super small school where everyone was just itching, going fucking crazy because everyone was just such a small group of people. And the senior boys developed this like joke where they would like walk up like really close behind girls and just dig their nose into the hair and just take a huge whiff of their hair. And back then, I simultaneously thought, this is a real fucked up thing. This is like borderline harassment, but it's also kind of funny.
Yeah.
But mostly it's fucked up. Because it is kind of like, it's not that we're all on
their pre-existing relationship with the girl.
Right. And it's not always that. It was like just kind of happening haphazardly.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it was like
I think that'd be fine for me to do to you when you arrive here today.
You should smell my hair. It probably smells great.
I've been waiting for years for you to smell my hair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little stuffed up today, so.
Oh, really?
It sounds like it to me. I feel like I have a little cloggage.
Huh.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, do a neti pot and come back to me.
Okay, I will.
So
I'm not going to interrupt the podcast, but.
Definitely not. We're really on a roll. So you want to get to the question?
Let's get to the question.
Let's fucking get to the question.
You guys have come to expect us to get to the questions in a timely fashion. I know you're probably braving traffic right now, but and you got some time to kill. So this has been fun for you, but deep down you're itching. Let's get to that question.
Yeah, here it comes.
All right, this one comes from Reddit.
Okay.
Tinydicktussin asks, all one word, Tinydicktussin, Tussin, like the end of Robitussin, I guess. Asks, manager insulted me and my girlfriend. That's the title. Description. So, in a nutshell, yesterday my manager walked up to me and my girl. He's in his 30s, GF is 19. And he said, if you won't appreciate her, I will. Out of nowhere. Me and him have been beefing for a while, and I don't think he was hitting on her. But that was extremely rude, and the comment made both of us uncomfortable. Am I justified in feeling that way? I'm going to work in 15 minutes, and I'm going to confront him about it, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being a bitch and overreacting. What do you guys think? I need a response ASAP.
Okay, first of all, apologies for the fact that the timing just isn't going to work out for you to receive our advice by the time you confront the situation.
15 minutes, yeah. Good luck.
Good luck. But hopefully...
Maybe ask friends, maybe text a specific friend whose opinion you trust on bitchiness.
Yeah, but here comes our advice anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the basic, basic bitch answer is, of course you're entitled to feel this way.
Pretty much that's my across the board. You can always feel whatever you feel.
Yeah.
Feelings aren't wrong.
Right. And in this particular case, I think that seems like your manager did something super jackassy, something that makes him the bitch. It's not you. I'm really puzzled by the fact that it came out of context. Like it wasn't like you guys were all talking, laughing, tee-hee, and then he kind of made a joke.
He said the context is generally that they've been beefing. Right.
Why? And like, why is the partner...
a specific moment of mistreating the girlfriend.
Right.
This guy sounds like he was doing this to get under his skin.
Yes. He's in his ego.
And he probably is attracted to the girlfriend and said this because he's built up the story about, you're no good to her, but I would be good to her.
Yeah. Well, just a general desire to undermine you, eschewing all professional appropriateness and just like societal dynamics we all come to expect. So like you are completely justified in feeling like something was violated there. Because I'm sure that there are also things that your boss or your manager has done to you that weren't in front of your partner that probably also violated something. But to have it be in front of this other person and kind of at their expense and involving them, it's just hugely problematic and unprofessional.
I want to take this a level deeper real quick, if you don't mind. But
Please take it
do you
deeper.
think, you said you're totally justified in feeling that way?
Yeah.
Do you think feelings are ever unjustified? Like, would you tell a person that you're unjustified to feel that way?
It depends if someone's really reporting a genuine feeling or if it's like really more of a thought in response to a feeling.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like whether it's a series of words in the brain or sensations that are happening in the body.
Right. Like, for example, if this situation where he was saying, that made me feel sad and inadequate.
Yeah.
Of course, that feeling is justified. But if he said, I feel like my boss should grovel on the floor and apologize to me, that's not really a feeling. It's more of a vengeful thought in response to that feeling of being inadequate,
it's a wish.
sad.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think the feelings are always justified or valid, whatever you want to say. That reactions can be unjustified or valid.
Yeah.
If you go and you slash this guy's tires and
You don't do that.
Throw a brick in his window in the middle of the night or something.
Free advice does not endorse either of those actions.
I'm giving an example of an unjustified reaction or an invalid, one that I will judge, but I won't judge the feeling that motivated that.
Right. And I think that the other thing that's hard about feelings is like they often, something like this often triggers a feeling that you have because you were mistreated in other experiences of being kind of called out for something or undermined in front of your partner or harassed in a professional context. Like the feeling is also deeper than what this person came up to you and said because you have all these other experiences and feelings that it's linked to. It kind of it triggers this like web of connections that exist, with or without this person saying that. And so again, it's like the feeling that all of that stirs up, of course, is valid. But then you have to sit with that and figure out, okay, what are the different pieces of that? And what should I actually bring back to my boss or my manager to honor those feelings and to hopefully try to work towards a dynamic that's healthier for both parties.
Mm-hmm. Can we focus on the am I being a bitch part?
Oh my God.
So
yes.
I want us to
that hurt me.
Put aside we both live in Los Angeles in a community of people that I assume don't call men bitches for talking about their feelings or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like not in vogue in our little bubble of culture.
Our little bitch.
Is there any value in that? I'm just trying to play the other side of this, the devil's advocate. Is there a use in that concept at all?
I think that, no is kind of my flat answer, but the answer with more undulation, shall we say, is, this particular person, Dicktussin, little Dick, Tinydicktussin.
I think it was Tiny.
Tinydicktussin, is using his language, which is I've previously been given the impression that to be honest about my feelings or to even have them as a man makes me a bitch.
Wanted to make sure I wasn't being a bitch and overreacting.
Right.
That those are like one and the same.
Right. And so like the idea of all these things folding in of like overreacting, having emotions, reporting them are somehow inherently not just not masculine, but feminine in a way that's very childish or comes with shame or comes with like, don't be a bitch, man. Like, let's unpack the term like bitch.
I think the problem for me comes from the gender part of it.
Yes.
That's like, that's what girls are, and girls are bad. If they're mad, if they're upset about something, that's it. Being a bitch, guys should never be that way.
Or a pussy.
Yes, yeah. They kind of are synonymous in the insult category. But if there was another term that I think there is some use in what it's describing, that a person can be being a bitch, and that's like a useful way to describe I would like to separate it from the gendered part, but like, so I'm trying to think of
like kind of being like a baby.
yeah, but even then, you don't want to
Yes.
be offending babies. They already
No.
cry enough. Maybe like just a whiny little one, you know, because the whiny little bitch phrase, that's like
Right.
something. There are times that people are being that, and there's a limit.
But is it your responsibility to like get upset with someone for like kind of being tantruming, their inner child kind of tantruming?
In some situations, yes.
Okay.
Like, say that there's some earthquake emergency or something like that.
Right.
Someone's freaking out about some minor concern of something that applies to them, whereas other people's lives are on the line.
Right.
You know, and they're worried about like this painting being broken. And
Yeah.
stopping a whiny little bitch. Like something, you know, there are moments where someone is being overly dramatic about something that affects them and unaware.
And you need
of
an insulting shorthand to call them out.
No, you don't need to say it directly to them, but language doesn't always need to be like something that you label another person to their face as. It's like for them to later come to their own realization of, oh, what was I doing in that situation? Was I being kind of a douchebag, asshole, whatever? Like
Yeah.
some of that self-judgment when you're looking at your past behavior and you have regret can be helpful to have terms for like the different ways that you can be wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think that in your example that you just gave is like, is there a shorthand way to communicate like, listen, there are other more important things going on. We're all going through stuff. Let's leave that behind. That issue seems a little bit minor given the context. You risk offending someone no matter what, but I don't think you should call them a bitch for that.
sure. So I'm searching now for an alternative. I
Right.
think the value of bitch
Stop
in
being a
this
tit sucker.
situation. A tit sucker.
A tit sucker,
I heard
like
you.
a little
Yeah,
baby.
I know.
I think baby is okay.
But a lot of people tit suck in sexual settings, and so maybe you don't want to stigmatize that. Like,
Sure.
it's kind of
sure.
like cocksucker.
We can't offend the tit suckers.
It's not like that's a
No,
sexual
I'm just
minority.
kidding. No. Someone sucked on my tit yesterday. It was amazing.
Great.
So it's like, I don't want to offend them either.
Was it a stray baby?
I'm always picking up stray babies.
I just wanted to
with
let
my
you know
nipples.
your volunteering is so courageous.
I'm just dragging my bare nipple along the sidewalk, hoping to pick up stray babies all the time.
crawl out from the bushes.
Yeah. I'm like, I have milk. Can I just dangle it?
You whistle your little milk jingle.
The milk jingle?
Yeah. The jingle.
Yeah. So what is it then? It's like you're
Sometimes people get overly self-important and
Hung up.
react. Yeah, like when there's something else more serious going on and they need to make their feelings the important thing. They get like indignant, self-righteous. They get this whole that. I think that it'd be nice to have like a brat, I guess.
Yeah.
For something that. But here's the thing.
Don't you think it'd be more
whether this is a
productive
big
if it's
deal
not
or not
insulting?
is for him to call himself that. Well, it's only an
Anyone.
insult because it's a negative loaded term.
Right.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. There should be negative loaded terms.
Okay,
though.
you want that. I don't want that.
That should exist because people have thoughts like that. And the more that we can align words to thoughts, the better we are doing at mapping and communicating. Like, people shouldn't use those words in all situations or overuse them. But
Right.
like, if a person has a concept, it's better to have a word for it than to not.
Okay.
In
Okay.
my general
Okay.
outlook.
Sure.
So I'm thinking this is like being a brat, like being
Sure.
too sensitive. That's possible to be too sensitive. Doesn't have to
Yes.
do with your gender.
Too
I don't think
sensitive
that men
though is
should
kind
be
of
less
triggering
sensitive.
to me.
Then okay, easily offended, like it's too self-obsessed. Like what's the word then? You have a fragile
know.
ego.
Yeah.
This is a condition that I think generally men are taught too much to overcompensate in the direction of like being too tough and unaffected by things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also possible to be too affected by things to a point where it's just like.
Yes. It's not helpful for you. It's not helpful for
annoying.
anyone else. It's annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to acknowledge that.
But it's like, do you want to shame them into changing their behavior? And does that really work? I kind of think no.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think you level with you instead of going to the level that they're at by kind of insulting them. You assume they're at a level slightly higher than they are, thus encouraging them to perform up.
So in this case, it would be like if he was overreacting to this, telling him that, hey, I know you're going to get over this. Like you're secure in your relationship with your girlfriend, and you don't let stuff like that dumb boss's offhand comment like bother you.
If we decided he was overreacting,
Right.
which I don't think he is at all.
I don't know. I need to know full context of this to like, tone and all of that is important.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think inherently this seems like a gross overreaction.
Right. So I think like, but his association
Depends
with
on
am I
how
being
he
a bitch?
confronts him. He said he's going to go confront him.
Yes.
If that's like with a physical threat or something, then I do think that's overreacting. If you come though with like, hey, I want to talk to you about something that bothered me. Do you have a second? And you do it respectfully, then that's what I would recommend.
I think actually that because sometimes I get a little more like tit for tat with this, but like because the boss's comment was so out of nowhere and disrespectful, I kind of feel like he doesn't necessarily owe him all of that sensitivity and respect. However, because it is a professional setting and the boss has the power position, he does have to kind of walk that line carefully. But if this was like a friend, someone where there was an equal playing field and there wasn't the professional context, I'd be like, fuck you for doing that, like
I think
that was bullshit.
Less constructive.
Sure.
I think it's better to just say your feelings and let the other person, because then they'll get defensive and they'll say fuck you back.
I think this is kind of the reverse of what you were just saying about calling someone a baby or a bitch. Before there, you wanted to shame. Now you don't want to shame.
Then I was talking about language. Like, what words should he use in his head? Is it even helpful to have an idea of a bitch?
I see.
Like, is that something that we should erase from the dictionary, or should we just ungender it and try and like, is there a use for people thinking of that?
Yeah.
For him to call himself that or somebody else or whatever, that's beyond the scope of what I was talking about.
Okay.
In this case, it's like, how do you deal with conflict resolution?
Right.
I think the best thing is to just come in and own your own feelings without accusing. As soon as you point a finger, the other person stops listening and starts like finding problems with you, I think.
Yeah, I generally agree. I do.
But if you talk about your pain, if you like, anger is what, hot sadness. It's pain that's activated. So, like, if you come in telling the person why you're bothered, and you recognize this as something that's happening within you, and they're just much more likely to work with you than if you come in calling names.
Yes. In this situation, since they're already in a beef, and the boss did something way out of line, I would be hesitant to say, like, don't come in guns blazing, but like...
Talk about the source of the beef. If
you
this
can't
is
expect...
proxy battle, then be like, hey, I've noticed that there's been tension between the two of us. Yeah. You don't even need to bring up the girlfriend issue immediately, and then ask, like, can we talk about this like adults? Can we, like, can you tell me what the problem is?
I also think that when you're dealing with someone who clearly is really like in their own shit, like I'm now calling the boss a bitch, basically. I'm saying when you're dealing with someone like that who is already on this level of like sort of immaturity, and you have to take into account that you have limited access to really potentially speak to them on that adult to adult, responsible human to responsible human level. And so you might want to also go in with that expectation of like, this could go poorly. He could get defensive no matter what I do. His behavior is clearly totally unpredictable.
Right.
So go in having already kind of processed your anger and gotten it out. So there's not that angry undertone to the conversation. But know that, hey, I'm doing this action to stand up for myself and to see if I can better my relationship and create a healthier climate in my professional sphere. And know that you're depositing that interaction bubble into the ether, but you can't control how that bubble is received or what the response is. Yes. Because I'm pissed on your behalf because what a fucking dick.
It made it so much easier for me to understand since you put it in terms of ether bubbles. Just gave me a clear image.
I love the visual metaphor. I love it. I didn't spend that much time thinking about it, but I put it out there as a bubble to you.
Oh, thank you.
So you could really see it. And
you let me comment on it. I'm imagining a nebula in the background. It's like a pink cotton candy smoke inside the bubble.
Yeah.
Are you ready to move on from this question? Do you have anything?
No, not at all. I have lots of other things to say, but I'll try to make them sort of abbreviated. And perhaps, there will be overlap. But the other thing that I think is important is in this conversation that you have with your boss, not just saying this was problematic and why, or it hurt me and why, all that stuff, but like, I want to challenge you also to think about, what are my personal and professional boundaries? Like, I don't know why your partner was in your workplace, but maybe that's something you just don't invite in, an area where you don't really blend it as much. But just think about, what is my professional identity? Who do I want to show up as? What parts of me don't I want to endanger by bringing them into this context, and why? Because the reality is, you're dealing with other people's egos, and you're dealing with, your livelihood. And so it just opens up a lot of a hornet's nest if you kind of have an energy where your boss feels even entitled to say something like that to you. Like, this is a real opportunity to be like, this isn't going to fly with me in the future. This is what I need out of my workplace culture. And, maybe if your workplace culture is sort of abusive or toxic, or you feel frequently this animosity, like, maybe this isn't the healthiest work environment, and maybe you need to extract yourself. So just being aware of
what other
this.
options this person has available to them, and you got to then make a value call of like, how much is my comfort in the security of this relationship with my girlfriend, and my pride worth compared to my job security.
Yeah.
And that maybe that it's less, and that might be unfortunate, but that might motivate you to then find an opportunity somehow get out of that situation on a longer term scale.
Yeah. And a lot of, I work with a lot of people who are struggling with elements of their work life that are pretty toxic. And one of the things that I try to help them to see and discover is like, sometimes a paycheck isn't worth sacrificing your self-worth, taking abuse, stomaching frustrations to maintain, relationships, or, to fulfill your duties, whatever. Because the longer you stay in those dynamics, the less and less self-worth you perceive that you have, because it just keeps hammering down and squashing it. And then the more you hold up, like, well, I need this paycheck because it's this tangible, material expression of your self-worth. But no job is worth like killing yourself over.
Right.
Because what's the point of working and having money if you're just like a shell of a person and you're miserable? So that's just like a point I want to make generally to like anyone who may need to hear that. You may not deserve to be subjecting yourself to the kind of situations you're finding yourself in at work. So now I'm ready to move on.
Okay, great. This is in a similar category about relationship boundaries in the workplace.
Yeah.
Okay, this one comes from 420 Ace of Spades.
Ooh.
420 Ace of Spades.
Interesting. Two different things going on there. Two different numerical systems.
Explain.
420 is a number. That's a whole idea. That has a lot of associations with that.
So
he's like, my identity is as a stoner. Yeah. And then he's like, also Ace of Spades. So then Ace is like the number one, like most powerful card in the deck.
I don't even think of it as a number so much as a symbol.
Right. Okay, so it's like these two unrelated symbols just merging together as this person's identity.
Ace of Spades, that's like what, like kind of a slick gambler guy?
Well, Ace of Spades is like top of the pile. Like Ace is the most powerful number, and Spades is also the most powerful suit. So it's like, I am the fucking king of this. I mean, not to mix metaphors, because the king is like the second after the ace. The ace almost transcends the numerical system.
That's why in the game Rang King, which I've been teaching people to play, I don't know if I've taught you this.
I don't know. I've never heard that word. 2 words? 1 word?
Okay. Something that I really cling to in social settings is having a new game to teach people.
Yes. I love that about you.
It allows me to be into control. It helps me like get other people comfortable with each other and give them a set of rules to like provide some structure for the ambiguity of a social setting where you don't know other people and you don't know what they would like talking to you about or whatever like that. So
yes, it's really like setting a therapeutic container. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But for recreation, for fun.
Yes. Therapy's fun.
Sure. Can be. No, it totally could be. But the goal is not just having fun in the moment. The goal is the growth and helping you in other parts of your life.
Yes.
So these little fun containers, games, One of them, I hope you don't mind this detour in the question.
I love it.
It's called Rang King.
Okay.
Now, I've branded it this. It didn't have a name when it was introduced to me by our friend Chrissy.
Okay.
It was just, you take a card from a deck of cards. You
A standard deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
You place it on your forehead.
Yeah.
Everyone else can see what that is.
Ah.
And then you ask people, okay, if this card were a fruit, which would it be?
Yeah.
And then if it's a king, that's like, for me, chilled watermelon, the best fruit. And
I would think like a red apple.
no.
Okay.
Seriously? A red apple? That's
Well,
just like
because king
standard.
is also kind of like, yeah, I think king is kind of like high, but like standard. Like
No. That shows your misunderstanding of the game, which is great. This is a teaching moment for me.
Great, I feel awesome.
A red apple in my system would be like a 7.
6 of hearts. Okay, I
It'd
got
be-
it.
The suit doesn't matter. It's just number. So the king is your personal
okay.
favorite, the thing that you think is the best, and the ace is your personal worst.
Oh,
so
ace
for
is low.
that, it would be like a rotten tomato or something
Okay,
like that.
so aces are low in this game, which is important.
Yes. Now, there was some talk in the beginning when I learned about this game where ace might be high.
Yeah.
But I will let you know that I chose ace as the bottom because there's just a single thing on the card. So it's like a 1. And this way it emphasizes the name, Rang King. Like, what's the king? That's the
What's the first
king
part of this? Rank?
Rank.
Rank
King. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you
okay,
rank things. That's the idea. The number on your head is like, oh, vacation destination. Well, the top number 1 destination I can think of is like the king of that. And the worst would be, I don't know, inside of a volcano, in-laws house, Thanksgiving.
Got it. Burning on the stake in both of those cases.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so that's that game. It's great to understand people's values and like what they think of as categories as well. I played this in Idlewild Pine a while back at a country bar, and the guys were like, "All right, if this was a brand of jeans, what brand of jeans?" And the guy's answer was, "Well, it's definitely not Levi's."
Which I wouldn't know where to go from there.
It's like, how many brands of jeans can you name?
Yeah, like
And
4.
I got that guy's opinions of Levi's as like really good.
Oh.
'Cause it was a low
Okay.
card. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I guess Levi's
I
are good.
personally don't have like brand loyalty for jeans, so that was a funny just thing for him to say to me.
That
like,
is really funny.
and then the next one he was like, "All right, if this was a swimsuit model, like how do you have a? Who are the ones of swimsuit models? Like, if you're a swimsuit model at all and you're famous, how are you going to be the worst one?" I guess
like
that's
a
when you
baby in a
add
bikini?
modifiers. Yeah, you're like, who's a swimsuit model? Good, Tyra Banks, but 60 years from now, and she has a disease or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you
think
modify it to
everyone
make it
with a
what?
disease is like not a good swimwear model?
No.
Of
Of course, there are people with diseases.
What disease
What?
would make the best swimsuit model?
Oh.
I have a couple ideas,
mean,
but I don't want to share them because they're
Is
all like
narcissism
offensive.
a disease?
Ah, there you go. Sure.
Like,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
somebody who's got an unhealthy obsession with a body ideal.
So an eating disorder is what you're saying.
Well, the image that comes to mind for that
Yeah.
is it gross?
Well, does it have to be?
Of like
That's the
someone
point.
who's had a very destructive eating disorder where they're
like, you're
just
not going to say
they look
someone
like
with a
they're starving.
goiter would be the best swimsuit model.
Right.
That would be a terrible example.
I'm thinking of an eating disorder that makes them look undesirably skinny in my mind.
But I think
that's
a
not
lot of
necessarily all
models
eating
have
disorders.
disordered
Right.
eating, and that's what
Sure.
makes them thin and like appropriate to that
Yes.
career. So it's kind of a built-in.
And yeah, some people definitely have it. Some people have lesser problems with it, or it's like there's a spectrum where there's
Totally,
sometimes,
it's all a spectrum.
right. Okay, good.
Always.
I'm not trying to say that extreme cases of it don't exist and
Right.
need to be treated, hospitalized, all of that.
Yeah,
but
we
there are
want
also
everyone
people-
listening to this to be good. We just want you to be good. We don't want you to be too offended by any of our jokes. We're just exploring topics.
I've had experience just with many women who have eating disorders that I didn't know but at various points in their lives, and it can be a sensitive topic. So
It
I
really
haven't personally
is.
experienced that. I try not to say anything that makes light of it or minimalizes it. Some
Totally.
people have thought that I have eating disorder, but for men, it's a different beast
And
altogether.
men
People don't
totally
really care.
have eating disorders.
Yeah.
And it's an issue that it's so much more hidden.
Yeah.
Again, because it's the culture of don't be a little bitch. Like
Right.
that's a feminine thing to have. That's a not a feminine thing. A woman's issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's all of us. It's humanity's issue. It's about control. It's about not taking care of yourself properly, not being shown that, getting validation from the wrong things. It's very complicated. It's a naughty picture, and it's really, it can be
Naughty
deadly.
picture.
Naughty. Like,
Oh, okay.
like,
I thought you meant like a
Tying a
dirty,
knot.
like a nudie mag. It's a naughty picture. What?
No,
Strange metaphor for that.
anyway, so
Yeah.
maybe we should circle back to the
So,
question.
420 Ace of
So
Spades
anyway.
said, I buy a box of chocolates for every woman in my office on Valentine's Day. I was told by a boyfriend last Valentine that this is inappropriate. What do you think? It's not really a big office. We're 13 people, 6 of whom are women, and every Valentine since 2014, I buy a small box of chocolates for every woman in the office and a rose for Women's Day. As you
Congratulations.
do. Currently, well, I guess he buys other gifts.
I'm
This
just
is-
fucking kidding.
Currently, one of the ladies is married, and another has a somewhat new boyfriend, the dude in question, and the rest are single. But regardless of their relationship status, they all seem really happy when I give them chocolates. I did this again last Valentine, and the BF sent me a message on Facebook that night telling me that he thought it was inappropriate that I give his GF a Valentine's gift. Since she has a boyfriend, as he should be the only one that gets to do so. His argument being that this is the nature of Valentine's gifts. Now, to be honest, the main reason I do this is because it comes off as chivalrous, and that's kind of my persona and number one factor for getting laid. On the look scale, I'm a 6 at best, and I've found that being perceived as elegant, chivalrous, and confident overcomes that issue very nicely. 75% success rate. He spelled it success, but with the X at the end.
Wow, that's
so
funny.
that, yeah,
That's funny.
75% success rate, i.e. 9 out of 12, based on empirical data. I also know that single women can feel sad seeing their friends show off Valentine's gifts from their BFs on social media, which makes me feel sad as well. And as little as a box of chocolates is, it's better than nothing. However, I truly despise betrayal in all its forms, especially cheating. So I've never and would never approach a woman in a relationship with any intentions of hooking up. In fact, the only reason I give a box to the 2 ladies in relationships is because it wouldn't be nice to exclude them. Anyway, I'm definitely going to continue this habit regardless of what the boyfriend thinks. Unless the majority of you guys deem it to be inappropriate as well, in which case I will stop. And then they mention that the office is a very casual environment and they're all really good friends inside and out of work. And also that these are his colleagues, not his subordinates.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, I have a lot that I want to say on this one.
All right.
I mean, I'll try to prioritize and say
Okay.
the things I think are most important nuggets.
Get those nuggets out.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is that it seems like he has sort of some major egoic things wrapped into this gesture.
420 Ace of Spades.
Yes. Like, he needs to maintain this persona that he's elegant and chivalrous.
Yeah.
I thought elegant was a funny word to throw into that, mix, but, and that it is with the intention of being seen as someone who is like sexually viable, right? Even if you're giving a gift to you're giving a gift to someone who may have a boyfriend, maybe in the hopes of appearing to someone who doesn't have a boyfriend as someone who would be sexually viable. To add to that success, I think it should have been sexcess instead of success. That's success.
What about just
is hard
sex?
to- Sex success.
Just double it.
Successful.
Sex. It doesn't even look like success at all anymore. It's just the word sex twice. 75% sex rate. 9 out of 12, baby.
I put my sex in her sex.
Don't ask me about the other 3. We don't like to talk about those 3.
And then the other element of it
Yeah.
is,
Where do you think that 12 comes from? Can we break down just for a second?
What?
9 out of 12 success rate is what he said. 75% of the time this works. So I'm
What's his
assuming
real sample size?
that he's saying like 12 women he's asked out or asked to hook up with in some explicit way, and 9 of them have said yes.
I think he might just be estimating. I just could be a rant. Look, we know how this guy is with numbers. He's very confused. He's the 420. He's the ace. He's the 70. I think he's just pulling numbers out of his ass.
Okay.
But the other point I wanted to make that supports my, he may be a little too, giving a little too much weight to something that is not as authentically kind of generous or something as he thinks this gesture is that, he's observed that single women are maybe sad when they don't receive an expression of love on Valentine's Day from someone in a partner role. And it just makes me wonder, why is it your responsibility to make these women's lives more whole? I think the idea of bringing joy, the idea that they seem happy when you give them these gifts, great. But there's just something where it's as long as you're not expecting these gifts to create any kind of particular response, I think that's the difference between is it appropriate or not.
Yes.
And if you think because a lot of guys come in here with their ego and they're like, I'm the nice guy and I'm the one who gets them the gifts and does the this and notices when they're sad. But then when they don't give them back some kind of expression, then they're mad. And so as long as you're not doing that, as long as you're not exclusively doing this to pump up your own ego and it's genuinely because it bestows joy on someone else and why not do it?
Yeah.
Great. I do have a slight problem with if it's all women. Why don't you give gifts to everyone? Everybody's lonely. It's not just women. That's the part I have more of a problem with.
Because this expectation is still gendered and we don't live in this utopia of the future where men don't really care as much about getting chocolate on Valentine's Day. In my experience, the men and women that I've met, it doesn't mean as much to me.
Fine.
And I know girls that are girly and really, love a teddy bear or a heart thing that's exciting to them. And so my first reaction is similar to yours. And then my second one is, well, if there are people that do operate in that system, can I play their game to make them happy?
Sure.
Yeah, I can. I'd like the system to change. But in the moment, it's still a nice thing for them. So I can call an older woman ma'am and she loves that respect and hold the door. And those little chivalry extra gestures that trying to evaluate what game is this person playing and can I help them enjoy themselves even if it's a problematic system that they're supporting.
Okay, so maybe then the appropriate thing is, or the most appropriate is ask them. Just fucking ask them.
I have a different solution.
I like to give you guys Valentine's Day gifts. I got some negative feedback. Would you want to stay, do you want to be in? Do you want to opt into this list of my gift recipient? Yeah. And then listen to what they say and then do that.
I think a good test for himself, based on what you were saying earlier, is just, would you still give these anonymously? If they don't know it's you, if you just leave a box of chocolates on everybody's desk because you really like them being happy, they don't need to know it comes from you. And that might even be better for them because they get to pick anyone in their head they can imagine, oh, how cool. There's also the possibility that they'll be freaked out. Maybe it was
Sexy Joe from the mailroom.
Exactly, yes. It's just, it's nice to get a gift and then have that little surprise. And so if you really want people to have that experience, just leave them on the desks and then nobody's going to call you out for being... You're also giving up the idea that you're chivalrous and all that, but the people that know from the past that you did that in history, you get even more credit because... He's oh, it's that guy who gives everybody gifts and doesn't even want credit. He doesn't want anyone to know.
He's so elegant.
Doing it anonymously. How chivalrous. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I want to also say I'm coming down quite hard on this guy, and I really want to be I'm sorry. I know. I know. I'm sorry. But I'm fighting a battle that's bigger than you, which is holidays, gift-giving expectations, being overly sensitive to women's wants and needs, men thinking they know what women want, and it's just ask them. And, with this woman whose boyfriend reacted, I wonder if maybe she said something to him about that it made her uncomfortable, and then maybe that's why he felt the need to protect her. However, maybe this guy is also, in his ego and having a jealousy response because maybe he's nervous about doing the appropriate thing for her on Valentine's Day. And did I take care of her sufficiently, being the main man in her life or the main love interest? But I think Valentine's Day is about an expression of love to anybody. And so platonic love, familial love, romantic love, it's a time for all of that to be celebrated.
I'm interested in this general principle. I'm still hung up on the just ask them thing that you said.
Sure.
because I totally believe in that.
Yeah. However.
I've noticed exceptions that some people don't want to even be. Some people just want someone else to take control and take care of them, and they like that more than someone who asks them. And then that's asking a question can be like an assignment for some people, and they'd rather just somebody be and do things with them or whatever. So if only I think the modified golden rule is treat people the way they would like to be treated.
Yes.
Different women want to be treated different ways. Not everybody is as woke as you or as defying gender roles. Some women in certain situations really want somebody to give them a gift without asking if it's okay to give them a gift.
Yes, and I've been that woman too.
Yeah.
I have.
And that's very, very brave of you to come out on the air as even just, wow. Can we just take a second to...
Can we not?
Okay, thank you. That's just... Our listeners are going to be inspired by this one that you just came out of the closet.
As a feminist that also buys into some of the practices of older chivalry. Wow. Yeah, I know. It is nice sometimes. But I don't think that women only should be treated with chivalry. And that's the thing. That's the thing that is unequal to me, I guess. It's like... Don't think that because I'm the weaker sex, I need this or that or the other. Let me open the door for you sometimes. Let me help you sometimes. It's that push-pull because we all have masculine and feminine within us.
Sure.
And so sometimes I might be more in my feminine and someone will want to have a masculine expression towards me and I will want to receive that. Sometimes I will identify that someone else needs help, assistance, wants a gift, and I will do the action and they will receive it.
Yeah, if you know that there's a particularly woke girl in your apartment building that you find cute, one thing you can do is just have like a big heavy load of boxes and stand outside the door when they're coming into the building and be like, oh, can you open that for me? And she's going to revel in this. She's going to be like, yeah, you know what? I can open that door for you. And
I
then
do
she's
that.
going to open it.
I love that.
And you're going to be like, thanks. That was a really good help. And she's going to be,
I got you.
That's like that's the modern equivalent of opening the door for a woman. If it's the right type of woman, you ask her to open the door for you. All of a sudden, she's wrapped around your finger. Hey, I'm going to boost that success rate from 75 to like 85%, okay?
You're going to make it a sex rate. Yeah. So, but the energy of it is still identify what that person would want and then do that versus your internal concept of what does a woman want? What does anyone want?
And sometimes you're going to guess and sometimes you're going to be wrong because you don't always get to have a thorough conversation with every person about what they want.
Of course.
What are the cues that a person can look for to tell whether someone wants to be treated like a lady or someone gags at the word lady?
Say the word lady and see what happens.
Just walk into the room.
Ladies! And just see what people do. Just write it all down. Okay, Susan kind of scoffed. Sally turned around. Ooh. Megan got wet. My fingers are already on her vagina. That's probably inappropriate. Should I stop? Is this appropriate? But I think because this person
this person who's writing this, they have the pad in the one hand, they have the pencil in the other hand. Are you sure they have their fingers on the vagina?
Amazing point. Amazing point. I will have to think about that. Maybe he's dabbed the pad under there and seen if there's maybe it's a toe. He's balanced on one foot. He's got a toe up there. He's surveying. Yeah. He's checking the weather. But I think that I'm kind of maybe allowing this man to be the recipient of all of this feedback that to me maybe is a little bit a lot or harsh or whatever because he's asking. He's taking the time. He seems like a super considerate dude.
The guys you really want to talk to aren't asking. Right?
What?
The guys that you really want to tell this message to are not asking if it's okay. They're not even thinking about it.
Exactly. So I'm trying to reach the less reachable using this as a platform because fuck yes, like you are trying to figure out what is the right move here and you're responding to stimuli around you and you're questioning this behavior that's gone unquestioned for a while. And that's okay that it's gone unquestioned, but here you are questioning it. And so fuck yes.
Yeah, I wish we had started with this in case 420 Ace of Spades heard the beginning of this response.
Where we were criticizing his name. Just listen all the way through, dude. We promise. We like you.
I explained the drinking card game rankings. If he starts right there, he might be like, what the fuck? They're not even... Okay. So I wish the most important thing is probably, hey, it's great that you're even thinking about this. This situation does have a lot of nuance. It's not all bad or all good what you're doing.
Of course.
And it's great that you're looking for help on this.
Fuck yes.
I don't think that it's wrong. I think there's a way that you can still give your Valentine's gift.
100%.
And as long as you don't insist, like, if the girl with the boyfriend does still want to get chocolates, I don't know. Should he bring it up to her and be like, hey, your boyfriend doesn't want me to give you chocolates?
Yeah, it's unclear where that expression was coming from. Is it coming from her and then being articulated by the boyfriend, or is it just the boyfriend's issue? She doesn't even know. Like, feel into these things.
It's tough to be a boyfriend on Valentine's Day because
it's tough to be literally a living, breathing human being on Valentine's Day.
Okay, sure. I'm trying to speak specifically to
Yes.
why might this boyfriend. I'm trying to have empathy for the guy who reached out and told him, "Hey, don't mess with my chick, bro." Because like this guy seems like a villain in this story in the way that I heard it. I'm just trying to consider things from his perspective.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
What's the most forgiving? Like, what's the scenario that we can imagine that makes him the most reasonable in this situation? You know, maybe he tried something or didn't do something for his girlfriend on Valentine's Day, and she's flaunting this box as like, even the guy at work, Ace of Spades, gives me a box of chocolates, and you don't even do anything. And then he has some anger at his girlfriend for criticizing him, anger at himself, sadness that he didn't do more. And the easiest thing to do is to get mad at this guy for violating this unspoken rule that, hey, that's my girlfriend. You shouldn't be giving her. I'm the only one who gets to do that. Now, if they're all in that system, sure. Neither of us, Morgan and I, don't get into relationships where you're the only person who gets to give your partner gifts. So that sounds silly, but I try to have respect for other people's, it's like a cultural difference, essentially.
Well, I mean, I kind of mentioned his perspective before, but maybe only from a negative kind of way. But of like, yes, he probably feels insecure about what has his participation been with Valentine's Day for her. I actually think best case scenario for him, like I said before, was if she articulated to him, hey, this made me really uncomfortable. Can you reach out and let him know that it's not appropriate? I kind of doubt that that's what happened, but
right. But maybe that was it.
But maybe that was it.
In which case, talk to the coworker of yours, the woman,
right?
And like you said, ask if you're not comfortable, and then you can probably assume she probably doesn't want a rose on Women's Day either. You don't need to ask.
You can take her off of that list. Like unsubscribe from all.
Yeah.
What other holidays do you do? Do you do a little mask for Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
When do you celebrate the boys? When is Women's Day?
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
Not a holiday.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm aware of. I mean, women are important. I'm not saying that they don't deserve a holiday, and that there needs to be a Men's Day. There needs to be a White History Month too. I'm not doing all that, but like.
Every month is White History Month.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I take issue.
February, but
right.
Valentine's Day is also in February. So can you imagine being a black woman on Valentine's Day? Double.
No.
It's
yes,
twice as much.
Yeah.
It's everything and more.
It's a series of unfortunate events.
Gift giving in general, I think, is just such a loaded topic. There's so many ways to do it annoyingly. If you have a gift and you make them open it in front of you and make them put on a little show of like, yeah, you liked my gift, didn't you? Ugh. I gave our mutual friend who we saw do a show the other night a gift for the end of her performance run.
Yeah.
And I put it in a bag. I gave it to her and I said, open this when you're done with your show. I'm not there. I'm proud of the way that I did this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm sure she's going to text me, oh, thank you so much and all that. But like, I know the feeling of, especially like what if she's opening it in front of her boyfriend and I'm there and then he's insecure about like.
And he messages you on Facebook.
Exactly, right? Like,
yeah.
Give it to the person in a way. Even better would have been if I just slipped it in her car, but it's kind of important that she'll figure out that it's from me regardless. But if you can just like give someone a gift in the least amount of taking credit or drawing attention to yourself way possible, that's like the best gift you can do. Just like leave them a ham in their fridge and they don't know. That's not because they wouldn't know that it's necessarily unpoisoned. Can you think of an example of what I'm talking about?
Well, let's talk about when you gave me a housewarming gift. Do you remember that?
What did I?
So,
it was a board game. Was it?
Yes. So
code names, pictures.
Yes. So
you
I had
explain all the rules to that just to keep thematic unity.
I won't. I won't put our listeners through that. But
Rankings
if you've never
was
played,
play that.
Yeah, if you've never played Codenames, check it out.
By Vlad Chikashipasklay, the only board game with like an author on the box. You haven't seen if you Amazon this game, it's Vlad Chikashipasklay. He's some Czech guy. He's Russian.
Yeah.
He's got like a super long name.
Oh.
But that's like the name of the game.
Oh.
Is the author's name is part of it.
I thought you were just having a stroke.
No.
Okay, so
Thanks though. You know the warning signs of a stroke?
babbling.
Fast. Face. Arms.
I have no idea.
Speech. Time.
Fantastic. I think we all know exactly what that's about and don't need to go further on that. Unless you want to.
I agree. No,
Great.
I nailed it.
Perfect. You did. So I had a housewarming party and Rob left me a gift. He kind of like snuck it onto a shelf, like in a corner. And what kind of blew it was that he then slept over that night. You stayed at my place. This was, a platonic sleepover. But so you helped me clean up. It was a one-way sexual sleepover.
One-way ticket to Bone City. I don't remember. I'm just joking around. But that's because of our rapport that I can do that. I wouldn't just do that with a stranger.
It's totally fine. He asked me, and I said yes.
I said, "Hey, can I tell them about my one-way tickets to Bone City that you give me sometimes?"
And I said, with gratitude, yes. But so he was there, and like we cleaned up the party, and I was like over there, and I was like, there's a board game just like unopened sitting on a shelf. And so I picked it up, and I was like, what is this? And like Rob's intention clearly was for me to find it later and, receive it in this sort of similarly anonymous way.
My intention was to make you think that. But some extra advice for 420 Ace of Spades. If you go the route of leaving the chocolates on the desk, just linger there and be like, oh, who left this?
Sleep over at the office.
Sleep over until they see it, and then they'll assume it was you.
And assume that you have a one-way ticket to Bone City because of the game.
No, I meant Bone City like I have a boner, not like that we're boning. Just to make that.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so stand next to a desk with a boner. That'll be super appropriate.
Upcoming cultural revolution in our lifetime
Yeah.
is the boner acceptance movement. That guys shouldn't have to hide their boners. I'm just saying, just calling it now in 2019, June 30th, 2019, boner acceptance is coming. That's a wave at some point.
I'm happy to accept boners.
What?
It kind of depends on the context.
Exactly.
But
and the boner owner.
That's true. With the owner of a rock hard boner, whatever, I can't finish that joke.
Illegally parked.
Illegally
Dude, you got some good
parked.
stuff with that. You could finish it if you gave yourself time. Just breathe into it.
You left your pre-cum on.
Nice.
Your pants. So,
You're getting there.
anyway, so it was kind of this awkward situation because I'm evaluating, like, what is this game? It's like fully wrapped. Like if someone had brought it to play at the party, opened, and it was clearly like their game, and it was like, oh, we just didn't get to it, whatever, I would give it back to them. But it was like, it was in the shrink wrap. And so I was like, I guess someone meant to leave it here as a gift. Like it took me a while to figure out what it was, that it was a gift. But then you were there for that whole process. So it kind of was funny. Because then you kind of like sheepishly came around and you were like, yeah, it was me. Because I knew that if that were what happened, it was you that did it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very sweet and very considerate. But yes, because it was something sort of covert.
How did you know it was me?
Because you are just the person that would do that.
I'm trying to speak to 420 Ace of Spades again because
Yeah.
he likes that giving these gifts gives him that persona.
Right.
What persona
Does that give you?
Yeah, exactly.
Someone who likes to appreciate people and offer them opportunities for fun and provide something they might not provide themselves. But again, yes, doesn't need the credit or the fanfare of gift giving.
Thank you. That's good.
It's an Easter egg.
My parents always would say, if you do a good deed, it doesn't count if you tell people about it.
Well, that's silly.
I think it can be over-applied, and I've definitely over-applied it at some points, but it's a pretty good guiding, like, do it in a way that doesn't attract attention to that you're just doing it for them.
That's not excessive.
It's like the people who do appreciate it will then appreciate it more. If you're even like, you can lose points for showboating about it or
Absolutely.
going on and on about the charity that you volunteer at in like kind of a personal name dropping way, like
Right.
self name dropping.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't talk yourself up like that. It was a humility principle or rule that I think it's good. It's not
it's
perfect,
valid.
but yeah,
it's valid. And I think we certainly need a higher dose of that. But yeah, gift giving, like you said, is weird in my family too. No, you didn't say it was weird in your family. What did you say?
I just said that the practice of it is weird.
Okay, well, in my family, it's fucking weird. Yeah. Because there is such a heightened expectation of gratitude. They're waiting for this great expression of gratitude. And it's like, you bought me a travel-sized toothpaste. What am I supposed to do? Jump up and down? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, thank you.
Start brushing.
But like, now I'm an asshole, for not being like explosive with joy and gratitude. And I get that it has historical roots in my family. It's a longer chain of events than just I got a travel-sized toothpaste for Christmas.
That was a real Christmas gift you got?
Every year for the last decade. It's a lot of very basic like toiletries in my family. Like my dad would get Alka-Seltzer from my mom for gifts over and over, and golf ball. Like it. I think that my mom kind of doesn't like fun and surprises. And so therefore she doesn't attempt to provide that type of experience for other people. So the gifts are very boring. They're very, she was like, I was trying to think of like, what are the products you borrow from me when you visit? Like, so she got me travel-sized toothpaste and a little travel thing of Q-tips. And I'm like, now you're saddling me with this obligation that when I come over and visit, when I fly across the fucking country to come see you, I got to bring my own Q-tips. If
you were to if you were to create an imaginary ideal mom gift giver in your head.
Oh God, I can't even go there right now.
What kind of gifts would she give you? Like, can you think of something?
I don't really, because of all of this, I'm very uncomfortable with like receiving gifts. So this is a hard exercise.
Okay. You can take your time. You can do it another week or.
I like jewelry. I'll be honest. Jewelry? I like jewelry.
What color?
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's more about the uniqueness of the thing corresponding to they see something about me that I can see reflected in the gift. It's just a gesture of I was thinking of you. I see you clearly, and therefore, because I know you well, I've listened to you. And so therefore, I can provide you with something that speaks to everything that I see about you. And so like for you to get me that game, it's not just because you love games. It's because you know that I love games and you see us playing together. You know that that's the type of energy that I would want to invite into my household and share with other people. So to me, it's like this really profound way of showing someone, I see you. And so with my parents, I've tried.
How's your oral hygiene? Maybe your mom is seeing that you've got some.
Well, the day my mom doesn't have a complaint about someone's hygiene is the day pigs fly.
And believe me, that she's going to have some complaints about those guys up in the sky that day because those guys are dirty. The pigs.
Oh. Right.
No, I hear that they're actually very clean. That's a misconception.
Huh. Yeah, and they're super smart. Supposedly. They just happen to be really, unfortunately, like easily domesticated, which sucks.
Yeah.
Poor piggies. Just a moment of silence.
I got some slow roasted pork in the fridge if you want some after this.
Oh, well, maybe I'm kind of hungry. Gift giving is really complicated. It's only one of the many, many love languages. Like I sometimes would prefer a word of affirmation or, again, quality time. Those are my love languages. Like spend time with me. Tell me, validate some element of what you see in me. Like for me, being seen is a really important one.
So,
yeah.
Product suggestion. How do we, is this already happening? And if not, how do we fill this niche of women want to be able to express themselves and their values through fashion, through the things that they style about their hair and their jewelry, and men do too, but particularly women have larger wardrobes than men on average. How do we come up with like love language themed accessories. So if you're wearing like a red bracelet, then people know, hey, words of affirmation. If you're wearing a yellow one, that's like, buy me stuff. If it's like,
Again, I mean, I think that the general principle is just ask.
Okay, but like,
I think the bracelet color system's
Don't
great.
you think there's a market for these rings?
Yes.
And then, wear the ring on the day of the week that communicates to your special guy what type of love you want to receive that day.
If you're someone who's buying that ring, your love language is gift giving.
Yeah.
Boom, case closed.
Does it disappoint you when you hear people say that their way of receiving love is gifts?
Because they're just trying to get gifts out of me? Is that what you're saying? That's funny.
It's like the one that's closest aligned to gold digging in general, right?
Sure. I end up giving love through gifts, little things sometimes. And I'll tell you what that expression is about on an emotional level.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not with you. I saw this thing that reminded me of you. And I was looking for, or I'm happy to exchange my currency for this object that will have a meaning for you. Mm-hmm. You can't, if someone's only portal of receiving love is gift giving, and you are not wanting to validate them in that way by spending money all the time, like that's a core kind of issue.
Not all gifts cost money.
Right. Totally. Sure.
Some things can
So
be
it's time.
made or just reorganized.
I'm thinking about you.
Kind of an act of service then, though, if you're just like
Sure.
cleaning your apartment or whatever. But
Yeah. It's like I'm thinking about you when you're not there.
Yeah.
And I took an effort to procure something or create something that expressed like how I feel about you or how I see you. I don't think it's always a materialism issue. So
that's a good. That makes me want to make something for Sarah. That's a nice feeling, like when you got a little surprise and then they're happy. And I worked on this.
Yeah, like I made you that little chakra thing, and she made you the heart. Yeah. And you made the crossword puzzle. That was amazing. You do that stuff. You don't.
Yeah,
don't
but
beat
I
yourself up.
tend to do it like holidays. Like I know that there's an event, and then I'm like, I'll save it for the holiday.
Yeah. That's the other thing about
it's better when it's just out of nowhere.
Spontaneous. That's kind of why I hate holidays and gift giving being associated with holidays, because it's like I feel and receive love through spontaneous expression.
Sure.
It's not out of obligation. Because it's fucking snowing outside, so I'm going to give you a chocolate, or it's, I don't know, some other, seasonal holiday reference. But
do you think we should call this one Bitches and Gifts?
Look, I don't hate that. Now, we always forget to do this on the air.
What?
1 out of 10. How is this episode stacked
9.
up?
This is
you
a
think
great
this is
one.
a 9?
I think this is better than what we've done the last 2 months.
You might be right. I really liked this one.
Yeah, me too.
Fuck yeah. We hope you guys like it too. That's more important, because the gift is about you receiving it, not about us giving it. We are taking credit. We are naming ourselves as the authors of this podcast. And yes, we expect hella praise. No. But we would love for the opportunity to help you with your trials, tribulations. Am I justified in feeling this way? What's the appropriate move here? In specific to general social situations, we love just like digging our teeth into the nitty gritty issues of life.
Yes.
We fucking love it. Give it to us. Give it to us. So send those nuggets to freeadvicepodcast at gmail.com. Don't be sending it to Yahoo, because we won't be there. Mm-hmm. It's Gmail
No, we're not there.
The way.
All right, so real quick lightning round. How do I get rid of ghosts that are making noises and talking?
Sage. Burn some sage.
All right, thank you. That concludes the lightning round. That was from Metal Creeps on Reddit. Metal Creeps asked that question.
Okay. Yeah, so, there are professionals that do exorcisms, stuff like that. Burning sage is one common.
I have some sage.
Great. Burn it. It's a great way to just refresh the space. Yeah.
Walk around with it. Run it underwater to make sure it's all the way out when I put it away.
Yes. Critical.
Good. Then you can't burn it again too soon, though.
Okay, sure, because it would be wet.
It's wet.
But hopefully you would do it the first time, like thoroughly enough that, you wouldn't be like, well, I need a sage again.
Sometimes I do it too much.
Or smudge.
It's real strong.
The critical detail of it
Yeah.
is make sure you have some cross ventilation going. Open your windows, open your front door, because
No, never have
when
that.
that's a problem because you're introducing smoke into the environment, and the idea is that they then are drawing out the kind of negative energy. They're getting all into those corners, and then it's leaving the space. It's very important that those things aren't just like adhered to the smoke molecules and still just, bopping around your apartment. You got to get them, you got to let them go, let them breathe, let them leave the space.
Okay.
Just as important
Let's do that as soon as we get off the phone with
Fuck
these
yeah,
boys.
I'll help you smash your apartment. I'll smash you. Yeah.
All right, I just need you to move just a little bit away from the mic.
This is our new inside joke that I'm finally enjoying it as a participant in the joke and
Good.
not like butthurt about being too loud.
Good.
Because I'm more comfortable with myself. I'm more comfortable with just
Good.
I'm a loud person.
You've accepted yourself.
I've accepted myself. I'm loud. I talk a lot. Some people don't like it. Fuck them. I mean, not fuck them. Sometimes they have valuable things to say. Like maybe there are some contexts where I could pipe down a little, some I could pipe up.
I can say that I've spent a lot of time with you, and there have been times when you've been both too loud, too quiet, talk too much, and too little.
Cool.
So I've had issues in every direction.
Excellent.
Any way you could fuck up, you have.
And the cool thing about that is you still love and trust and want to be around me enough to fucking make a podcast with me and to fucking hang out with me when we're not podcasting and we talk and we what?
For now.
You on thin ice, bitch. But that's a cool thing. It's like we all have flaws. We all fuck up, but people will still love us.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing thing. Don't hide your flaws so much that you just are constantly boiling and bubbling with shame and fear.
Did you know that Ben Franklin constructed flaws so that people would like him more because he knew that he was too unrelatable based on how good he had his shit together?
What?
Benjamin Franklin.
Yes.
Founding father.
Yeah.
$100 bill orgy master. You know the one I'm talking about? Naked
No.
airbather.
No.
Ben Franklin. Same guy. Electricity discoverer.
Yeah, that fact I
kite
know. Most of the other things you said, never heard associated with Ben Franklin.
He did a lot of orgies in France.
Oh.
And we used to have biphasal sleep.
Oh.
We used to sleep for 4 hours, wake up in the middle of the night for a while, and then go back to sleep.
Yeah.
He used to take naked air baths by the window. He'd stand in front of his window naked and just enjoy letting the cold air run over his skin in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of these things about him.
You didn't know that about him?
No, but
I knew that about him.
I always got the vibe that he was like a cool dude.
He is.
You know?
Yeah, he was chill. I'm sure he did some fucked up shit because he's a product of his time and, women and minorities and all kinds of, there's definitely something problematic about Benjamin Franklin if you want to find it. But
again, something problematic about all of us. So don't fucking get so on your high horse that we all live in glass houses. Put down the damn stones.
Yeah.
Anyway. Here I am yelling at people, put down your stones! I'm like with a stone yelling, hey!
Yeah, and a little bit I think you got to judge people within the context of their environment. Like,
yeah.
What was I saying about him? Oh, yeah. He noticed that you have to have some flaws to be likable to people, so he would just give himself, he'd like assign himself a flaw and have that for a while. So that
That's
people,
hilarious.
Yeah.
Good for him. Cool dude. Something to think about, something to chew on.
All right, everybody. Listen to that farthest sound you can hear as you drift off to sleep. What is that? Oh, it's a bird someplace far. Wow.
I'm just creating really far away sounds.
Okay.
Stretching my neck back. Comfortable. Probably doesn't have the fluttering.
All right, everybody. Good night. Sweet dreams, and we'll see you next week.